Welcome into another Red Out podcast. My name is Devin, and in case you haven't heard, there's people transferring. We're going to talk about it and all the other news. Just check us out.
Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, Betterhelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/redout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Yes, thank you, BetterHelp. We appreciate your support. And, if you would like to use our affiliate link, it's betterhelp.com/redout. And if you use that, you'll get 10% off your first, month of service. So definitely check that out. And by using the link, you also support us. And if you'd like to support us directly, you can go to patreon.com and give us, for the cheap cost of less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can help us out. We appreciate your support there. If you do not want to financially give, you can always just like, share, and subscribe. By getting us, putting us out there a little more, we get more listeners, we get more support, it boosts our numbers. So either way, it helps us out. So, Jared, how's it going, bud?
It's pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. It's just been a long day. But anyway, it's been a long day for Coach Helton too. So,
also, I'd like to say at the beginning of this podcast that I will be transferring from the Red Out Podcast. Please respect my decision.
I just want to say, first off, I'd like to thank God for. First off, I'm a Christian too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mocking it, but every time, you read those and you're like, you got to skip.
All sound the same.
You got to skip the first 3 sentences, and then you can read. Okay, what's going on?
Every single transfer thing is I'd like to thank God for the opportunity and blessings that I've had. I'd also like to thank my coaches and my teammates for helping me become a better player. With that being said, I'd like to announce that I'll be transferring from insert university name here.
Yes.
This isn't an easy decision. Please respect it. I'm thankful for all the people who have supported me. Whatever signature. Yes. All on an Apple Note, all on an iPhone Note.
I always wonder if that is what the university tells them to do. Is there a format that universities are like, this is what you go by?
Well, I've seen your bigger name players have someone make an edit that actually says everything on it and has their picture in the background and signature imposed on it, which looks pretty cool. But
oh yeah,
I mean, for a lot of your smaller players, it's just the iPhone Note,
which is fine. I mean, it still gets its point across.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we will soon be called the Boiler Up or Boiler Out podcast, because that seems to be the way things go. And then, after a few years, we'll be going to Louisville. So I guess that's how it's going to work out.
We're just following the same progression as Jeff Brom.
Exactly. Is that final or is that just talk?
No, I mean, I've seen basically every reputable source say that that's happening. So I would definitely say that it's happening at this point.
Yeah, I would too. Okay.
I don't know details yet as far as money and how long, but we'll see.
I was going to say, so for those of you just now catching up to what we're talking about, Jeff Brom, former coach at Western, went to Purdue, has had really good success there. He's in talks with the University of Louisville, his hometown, to be head coach there.
Yeah, it's his alma mater too.
Yeah, alma mater too. So, I think that's a great play for him. Some people were I guess, confused that it's a bigger university or a little more prestige, I guess, with Louisville. But Louisville's in the ACC. Purdue's in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So the Big Ten's not what it used to be. So yeah, I can
And Louisville
easily
is neither. They're not what they used to be either.
no. By all means, Louisville's not what they used to be. But
Lamar
I
Jackson
think
ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
no. And even like Malik Cunningham, that kid was pretty. That kid had some skills too. He wasn't Lamar Jackson skilled, but he was still very talented. But rumor is that Jeff Brom's going to Louisville. And I think the worry from Hilltopper fans is that Coach Helton will be going to Purdue, which could be the new pipeline. I don't know.
I don't see that happening.
You don't think so?
No. I just
So
don't.
who-
I've already seen Purdue is a big. I mean, they still care about football a lot. I mean,
Yes.
they have Drew Brees as one of their alumni. He can help them out financially with a lot of their problems and other stuff too. So, I mean, they still take football very seriously. I don't see them following just the WKU pipeline. I mean, sure, Helton was under the same. He was on his coaching staff with Brom and everything, but that doesn't mean that he'd be a good fit for them. So, I mean, I feel like they'll go with a more high-profile name or something. I mean, obviously not like Deion Sanders going to Colorado or anything like that. And of course, Willie T is supposedly going with them. I thought that was a really interesting duo up in the Rockies now, apparently. But
I did too.
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we're kind of. I guess we'll just flip-flop this a little bit. But
see, I don't know if you would want to call this a hot take yet, but I do not see Helton going anywhere anytime soon. I just don't.
Helton is very conservative on the field, and I don't know if that transfers over to his thoughts on coaching.
Well, I don't know if you got to read that article that Eric Henry, one of the guys with Underdog Dynasty, he's like the big FAU and also or FIU, sorry, and he just covers Conference USA super duper well, and he put a big opinion piece talking about how Helton's philosophy of attacking the portal and doing basically what he's done the past couple of seasons is the type of model that every G5 school needs to go for. I mean,
he's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, we had this huge debate about it in our group chat, talking about the whole landscape of how Western is. But I mean, I don't think there's anything we can do about it other than just give more money. So
Yep.
I mean, and I think it's the Red Towel Trust. That I'm going to go ahead and plug it because
Go right ahead.
we plugged it on the towel rack too. If you want to see our good players stop transferring from WKU, the only way that is going to happen is if we give them some type of lucrative NIL deal to where they have enough money that they feel like they could feel supported financially here at WKU. And that's something we can't compete with these Power 5 schools. But I mean, even just the way that it stands now, we could be doing so much better trying to convince our players to stay, at least make it a conscious thought of them staying and not wanting to go to a Power 5. So it's the Red Towel Trust. They have a website for it. I know that it's just now starting to get launched and everything. All of that money will go to NIL stuff with WKU. So that's something to look into. I think there's a Facebook page for it and also a Twitter account for it. But yes, we have to support financially, unfortunately. That's the only way that this giant mass transfer will be able to end, is if we give our players enough financial support to make them want to stay here. So
yes. Okay, Jared, I'm going to read. Hold on. Let me help you with your plug. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. 1 second. Let me get this right. Oh, is this the live version? Okay, here we go. For the cost of less than a few dollars a month, you can support a Western Kentucky athlete. RedTowelTrust.com allows you to support athletes so that they don't leave and go to Purdue every year like they have been. So just a few dollars a day could help Western athletes like Jamarian Sharp, who came back after going to transfer. Those athletes could stay here and play at Western. There we go. Does that work? Is that a little bit better?
How
Okay.
did you do that?
That was YouTube.
Oh.
That's why I turned it really low, because I don't have any rights to it. So
You just need to put like the Arms of the Angel song like in those ASPCA commercials in the background.
Yes,
and
that's what I was going for.
donate. Yeah.
But I clicked on the wrong part of the song to do it. But anyway. I guess we may have to just start plugging that, and then I'll just download that song and
Yeah,
just randomly
just make our
start
own
playing like
commercial for it.
if I could get the instrumental to it, I'll just start doing that.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, seriously though, like okay. So my gripe is you kind of got like 2 to 3 different little segments of fans at Western. You got your fair weather, who whenever something goes wrong or something happens, they just go back and basically change the channel to UK or Louisville.
Yeah.
And then you got your diehard fans, okay? And if you're a diehard fan at Western, support them.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, did they not say that there is some kind of like event that if you donate to it, then you have an opportunity to have a sit-down meal with some of the players or something? Is that right?
That's what they're working. They're working towards that. All of this is still like
beginning,
up and coming initiative. Yeah, but this is how we're gonna have to attack this kind of thing, because I mean, it's not just us. I know there's some people that have said that like we compared to other schools that are like WKU and same conference or same tier, that you're not seeing this massive turnover
exodus.
problem. Yeah,
No.
but I mean, I think that's kind of how we're marketing ourselves, though. It's like, hey, come to WKU for a season, and either you'll be good enough to go pro, or you can go to a Power 5 somewhere. Because, I mean, that's the thing that we've kind of been plugging the whole offseason, was looking at how well we've done with transfers. But, I mean, that's the way it kind of works. It's a revolving door. I mean, we might get someone that's really good for a season, and then they're gone. I mean, just like Austin Reed. I mean, his number wise, he did really good. I mean, I still feel like he could have been a little better at times, but I mean, he was still really, really good. And he's going to end up going to a Power 5 somewhere and hopefully being able to start and looking pretty good. But I mean, it's just still that same thing with WKU now. Here we are, whole nother offense is going to be coming in, and new quarterback, new system, everything. I don't know if Hilton's going to make any adjustments with his coaching staff or not, as far as who's calling plays or offense, and if anything with that is going to change or not. I mean, that could be a big factor with everything.
So anyway, let's back up just a little bit, talking about Western, talking about coaches. Former Hilltopper coach Willie Taggart obviously was fired last week after the FAU game against Western. And rumor has it that there's one of 2 places. Oh my God, just me. Anyway, Western Willie Taggart. Rumor is that Deion Sanders is going to try and hire him to be a player personnel person. So basically, he's not really a coach. He's just basically somebody who's kind of, helping the guys out, helping them with whatever they need. And then on the other side of that coin is the rumor that Jim Harbaugh is going to hire him at Western. Or not Western, Michigan.
What year is it?
Yeah, I know, right? But he's going to hire him at Michigan. I don't know. I didn't ever heard what the position was there. Did you?
No, I think the one with Colorado is probably the one that's going to happen from what I've seen.
Well, I mean, okay. So we had this debate the other day. Does Willie come back to coach?
I think if Colorado does really good with Deion Sanders and he does a good job leading that team and stuff, then maybe. Especially if there's like a school in Florida or something that has a position open that's not FAU. So I don't know. I don't know who's left. I mean, UCF. I don't think he'd be able to get that. I mean, that would be a downgrade from FAU. FIU would.
He could go to FIU. He could go to Florida A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying
they're really good HBCUs. So I mean,
it's possible. It's possible. And he would be closer to family, which is that's why I think he took a lot of those Florida jobs.
Probably.
But, and that's my thing. Harbaugh, I knew Taggart was going to land on his feet. Okay. When he got fired, I hated it for him because he's kind of got to uproot everything. But at the same point, that's the job you chose. When you're a head coach, that's life as a head coach. You're either on your butt because you got fired or you're moving on to the next job. So does his son transfer to Colorado too? I would assume so.
I mean, probably.
That's usually how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to kind of go with the flow there and go with your dad. Um, so Braun is going to Louisville. Taggart maybe going to Colorado. Everybody at Western is trying to hold Taggart down, or not Taggart, hold Helton down so he doesn't run off.
He's not. I don't see him going anywhere. I don't know why everybody
No,
thinks that Helton is such of like good coaching prospect. I just don't see him gelling with a lot of different programs, I guess. I mean, he is a very laid back guy. I've only got to meet him like maybe once or twice. And I mean, he's super nice, super friendly, super great guy. But I mean, he's not as fiery or
yeah,
energetic as a lot of
yeah,
your coaches that you would want to get your players all fired up and just try to be a little more, I guess, aggressive, trying to make them feel like they belong more. That way they don't transfer. Where Helton's like, well, I really want you here, but if you want to go test the waters or something, I guess you can and everything. But I
yeah.
mean, the thing, yeah.
Make you sound like some country farmer. Well, if
Well,
that's what you want to do,
I
you
mean,
just
he
go
is a
right
little bit.
ahead.
I mean, he's a little country and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like
No,
he's
no,
so
no.
laid back. I mean, I just don't see him being a big name prospect for even like Purdue or something like that. I just don't really see it happening,
Well,
which is
here's
fine.
here's my thought. If you are Helton, you've got to be a little conservative with the jobs that you take.
Hmm.
You know, you've got a good thing here at Western. Sorry, I've got a cold.
You're good.
He you got to be conservative with the jobs you take. When you're at Western, you've kind of got a groove. You know what you're looking for year in and year out. So do you leave this comfortable spot and go to a team that's in the ditch or even at the peak? Do you take them at the top of the hill or at the low of the valley? Um, if you go to the top of the hill and take a team, I feel like you're going to turn out Mike Sanford every time
Yeah.
because you're going to have a couple rough years. Usually, those coaches are leaving for a reason.
Yeah.
If you
Well,
take one in a valley, your Willie Taggarts. I won't say Jeff Brom because Petrino kind of left him with a good, uh, stable
mhm.
situation. But Coach Helton, he came in off Mike Sanford, who was having rough seasons. So definitely where Western was in heels there. So you know you've got to be conservative with the job you take. You don't. I don't think you want to go take Purdue. If you're Helton,
Yeah.
if they call, unless they're offering a lot of money, I say you leave it
Yeah.
because Brom is beating the socks off everybody up there. And if you come in, the Boiler Nation may light a fire under your seat really quickly if you start, screwing up. Almost
And
said
I
something
f-
else.
and also I feel like nationally the only things Coach Eldon would really be known for is just being able to produce a really good performing quarterback,
Yeah,
which is obviously something people want,
yeah,
but also like he's known for just how he's been able to continue to do great with the transfer portal, being able to bring in guys and have them mesh enough to have a high powered offense and be in a bowl game. Which I mean, that's kind of what we want from our
yeah,
programs too. I mean, it sucks we haven't been able to get a conference title the past 2 years as good as we've been. I mean, we've had opportunities. Last year, we were in the title game and lost just barely. And then, of course, this year, I mean, we laid an egg against North Texas. Had we won that game, we would have been playing in it instead of them.
yeah,
So those opportunities have been there. It's just been unfortunate that we haven't been able to. But I mean, I can live with it though. That's the thing. I mean, 8-5
yeah,
this season. I mean, I'm all right with that. I mean, I feel like there were obviously games we could have won, just like Indiana for the billionth time. Like that's always a game that we should have won, and
yeah,
there's a few others where we just didn't perform as well. But ultimately, I mean, he's been able to maintain success at WKU. I don't think he's hit his ceiling here. I mean, we could maybe get a 10-win season and conference title easily again at some point, depending on how he recovers from losing everybody again.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this might be a premature question, but where do you see him going as for a quarterback? Do you just see him going back to the transfer portal again, or going to some like FCS level or lower school like he did with Zappy or Austin Reed, or do you see him taking a chance on someone like Caden Veltkamp or his nephew Turner Helton? Maybe try to get one of those guys to be able to play next season. What do you think?
I think he's going to he'll pull an FCS one out of his hoo ha. There's several good quarterbacks that are out there, but I don't know. like who you would want. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like you've got to get a pocket passer. You do not want a scrambling quarterback.
After
Um,
Pigram, yes, you don't want to do that.
yeah, you don't want that, especially like you said after Piggy. Um, I'm looking at Westerns or not Westerns on ESPN. They've got Austin Reed ranked ninth. Um, so I mean,
I mean, that's
I
pretty
think
impressive.
Austin, yeah, he's going to do pretty good.
Yeah.
And this is top 35 transfers.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing I would say with Reed is I don't think he's going to go to a big Power Five. Does that make sense? I don't think he'll land in the
Hmm.
SEC. And the reason I say that is because when you watched him against a struggling Auburn team, you know they started throwing a couple of confusing things at him, and he was like, "Nah." You know, he started having a little more. He was a little more impatient in the pocket, and that's why I think he will end up either, Big Ten, Pac-12, or Pac whatever number it is now, Big East. You know, he may go to a bigger conference, but I don't think it'll be, you know, something amazing. You know, he's not going to an Alabama. I don't
Well,
think.
obviously not Bama, but maybe I've seen Florida mentioned before,
It could be Florida. I'll
because
give
he
you
is
that.
from down there and everything. So I mean, technically not really like that side, but I mean,
I could definitely see a small school, you know, maybe a new D1, you know, quarterback transfer to Western, you know, like kind of like a Bellarmine or something like that, you know, like a small school like that, not Bellarmine specifically.
but see, here's my
Um,
concern though: is how many more times can Helton take a chance on someone that's like D2 or FCS level, and then them turning out really well, like finding these diamonds in the rough? Because he hit absolute like gold with Zappy,
well,
and I
yeah,
still think he hit pretty good with Reed too. He came in and was able to produce the big numbers. I mean, there's a little bit of drop off, which I mean, obviously would happen after someone breaks two NCAA records at your
yeah.
school. But how many more times can he keep going the lower route and having someone that's at an FCS school come in and do well? Because I mean, I feel like that luck could run out at some point where we get someone that's like a Zappy or a Reed, and they just do not figure the offense out as well, or they just don't perform as well. Because I mean, if you think about it, we still had Jarrett Dagey and everything to come in. And it's just the fact that Reed
Yeah.
actually ended up being better than him in camp was the reason why he didn't even stay. But I mean, that
Well,
does still kind of show that Helton can get some Power Five transfers in as well. I mean,
was he better or did Deggy just get pissed? Because that's what I felt like happened.
well, I
I
feel
feel
like
like the
Reed was
competition,
better. Well, no, this is what happened. Reed was better, which is why he was pissed. He got beat
yeah,
out by someone from West Florida, and that's why he dipped. He didn't dip until it was announced that Reed was the starting quarterback, and I think the writing was on the wall beforehand that Reed was just doing better than him anyways. So
well, and of course the other thing is there was that Instagram post about Reed over Dougie, Diggy, whatever, and he's at Troy now, so I don't give a shit. Anyway, but he, you know, as far as he's
he still
concerned, but
beat us though.
he did beat that. Well, yes and no. Like he came in right there at the end and was on the team that beat us, but I still just like that is one of the that's almost like a Rick Pitino playing Kentucky thing, right? Like that just like blah. Anyway, I'm losing my words because I'm just yes. Anyway, but yeah, I agree. I don't know how many more times he can kind of reach in and pull out a diamond. I think Bailey Zappi is like a 1 in a million.
Yeah.
I think that was an amazing, you know, catch for Western.
And I think that having Kidley come along with him as well as Jareth Stearns were the biggest factors in that too, because he had two
Yes,
people he was immediately comfortable with. That like he had an offensive coordinator that was able to run the type of offense that made him successful there, and he
yes,
also had his top wide receiver at the school that he was at too, and ended up being his top wide receiver at WKU too. It's just like there's so many things you have to like kind of package with it sometimes to be able to do that, and that's I don't know if that's something that Kelton can do every single season. So I don't know if it'll be fair to try to expect that every year. I mean, I
okay,
kind of want to see him take a chance on someone like Veltkamp though, just
yeah,
because. I mean, being able to be that's something he hasn't done is to develop a quarterback that's someone that stayed for a few seasons. I mean, usually it's just kind of a revolving door at the quarterback position. But I mean, I kind of want to see maybe his nephew. I don't know if he's any good or if Belt Camp, if that's like local product, I think that'd be really cool to have someone from Bowling Green that would, if they would be good enough to be the starting quarterback to actually do it. I mean, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And from a political sense, as far as that goes, it's good. It's good credit for Western to pick up some local kids.
Do you think that would help with attendance any if we were able to develop any type of local kid like that?
It depends on the kid, I think. You would pull some people like that, but I don't think you'd pull a lot just because people got their heads in their asses about the other
I
school.
don't think anything could help our attendance, but that's just
well, yes, I think there are things that could help our attendance.
Hosting Alabama would be one of them.
Well, yes and no. I think like dollar hot dog, 10-cent beer night would be great, but it would cause a humongous fight in the stands. But just doing stuff, having events and giving away free tickets and trying to get kids interested. Yeah, I mean, like getting kids interested in Western sports is the biggest thing. You've got to get these kids go to the schools and do like okay, this may be before your time, but we used to have this program called Accelerated Reader.
Oh, I was a part of that.
Okay, and that was a big thing in my day. Was if you read so many books, you got a coupon to Pizza Hut for a personal pan pizza. That was like the greatest thing in the history of the world. Was that little personal pan pizza? Now, as an adult, you're like, Jesus, I could eat 4 personal pan pizzas, but back then it was like, oh my gosh, this is like gourmet. It's Pizza Hut, but you thought it was amazing. But like that's what I think you need to do is kind of have a promotion where you get the kids to come out. Maybe take a few athletes with you. Have Jamarian Sharp and hypothetically Austin Reed or somebody like that going to the schools and meeting the kids, get them interested. You want them to become fans, so just let it happen naturally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I work in Springfield, and I'm still convincing a lot of the high schoolers to go to WKU, and there's a couple that want to. So, I mean, you have to be intentional about it.
Exactly. Right now, we are looking at 31 students transferring, going to the draft, or departing as seniors.
Woof.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. On I won't say 53-man roster because I think we were closer to around 70 at one point. But I don't know what we are right now. So just kind of going down the list, we have a few walk-ons. Lucas Canario, he's a kicker. Nobody cares. We have a running back, Javi Bunton. I don't know. Look it up on Talrac. We'll just I'm going to screw up a lot of these names. So Matthew Flint is a linebacker. That's easy. Luke Slusher. Dakota Thomas, tight end Josh Simon. That I said it wouldn't have been a big deal the day before he transferred, if he transferred. But I think he was an impact player. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he was.
He was an impact player, but he wasn't. His numbers were tracking down, and I don't know what that was.
It was post-injury stuff. He just hasn't gone back. He wasn't targeted as much either.
Okay, we have safety AJ Braithwaite, which
that's a big loss.
Yeah. Safety Talik Allen.
That's another big loss.
Yes. Defensive back BJ Wagner. Quarterback Darius Ocean, which I think that's a bigger loss than some of these others.
I mean, I feel like he could have been the guy. He could have had an opportunity to compete if he wanted to stay. But that's another thing too we have to remember is that it's not set in stone that these guys will leave just because they put their name in the portal.
Exactly.
Because, wasn't it Moses that put his name in the portal and ended up staying? I know that there's been a couple of players that did that.
Well, and I think it's the offers you get, and they just don't get the offers they're looking for. And I should have led with that, but anyway, we got center Rusty Stats. Oh, it's got 2 A's, so it kind of threw me. Quarterback Austin Reed. Defensive back Maximus Pulley, which, by the way, like that, does that not sound like a prank phone call name?
A little bit.
Maximus Pulley. Kicker Braden Narvison. Tight end Joey Belajan. Offensive tackle. Yeah, I screwed
We
up.
lost both of our starting tight ends.
Offensive tackle Gunnar Britton and wide receiver Craig Burt. So that's all 17 that have entered the portal. Like we said, disclaimer, they don't all have to go. They just popped their head in the portal. They said, "Woohoo! Anybody want to play?" And they go, "Nope," and then they can come back.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's how the NFL draft should be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. They should let these kids go to the draft, test out, let the whoever sit down and talk to them and be like, you can't throw 80 yards. You can't run a 4.40. You can't do this. You don't need to go. You need to stay in college longer. Or on the opposite side, hey, kid, you look great. Let's go. Come on, let's go play. I think they should do that for the pros. Anyway.
Yeah. But that's the other thing, too, is that I wish these guys would remember the grass isn't always greener. I mean, just like, I think it was, who was the one that went to Ole Miss, Mason Brooks, and he didn't even get to start and play much. I'm just like, well, I mean, you ended up on a Power 5, but, I mean, you didn't really get to help your draft stock any. Was it really worth it?
Yeah, did it? Yeah, if it doesn't help you in the long run, then why use the bigger name?
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is these coaches aren't always going to tell the truth. Be like, yeah, you can come in and play immediately if you come to this Power 5 school. Yeah, and then camp comes, and then they over recruit you and like your position, and they have all of these bigger name players that are better or already taken another transfer for that position, and then suddenly you're buried third on the depth chart.
Yeah, or I mean, that's the thing too, is it's almost like they got like a disclaimer where it's like, hey, Jared, if you come play for Alabama, you can play quarterback if the first 6 people dive ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, there's no way. There's no way that you're going to play. But these guys, whether it's family pressure and coaches kind of talking them into it or whatever, they end up thinking that they're going to be starting for these bigger schools. And it's like, Now, like I said, we do have 3 guys that have declared for the draft. Caleb Oliver, defensive back, wide receiver Dawood Davis, and cornerback Khalif Halasi. Halisi?
Don't try. Don't hurt yourself.
I am. I totally am right now. I will say Khalif could be on a practice squad. I don't know if he'd play, though.
Mm-hmm.
He had several good plays for us against a couple teams and actually saved us in a few games. Now, Caleb Oliver is a name that I do not remember being called very often. So I don't know. Some of these guys, if they're seniors, I get it. But if you're not a senior, then I think you should just hold on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dawood Davis, I know he got a few catches thrown his way, but I just did not think he was a standout, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, and another thing too is that I'm looking at the stats that's really interesting. So,
okay,
one version of someone that kind of went to Power 5 after coming to WKU, a perfect example, Mitchell Tinsley. He had 1,400 yards in 2021, 87 catches, 14 touchdowns at WKU. Was absolutely lighting it up under Zappy. But then, he decided to go to Penn State, and he only had 45 catches for 528 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's like major drop off. I mean, did he still play at a Power 5? Yeah, but I mean, did he really better himself off that much? Debatable.
Well, and that's just like you're saying, like the grass isn't always greener on the Power 5. Yeah. There's bigger fish over there, and it's not necessarily that you're going to be the biggest fish.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have 11 seniors that are leaving. Defensive end Juwan Jones, wide receiver Jalen Hall, linebacker Jaden Hunter, defensive tackle Broderick Martin, defensive back Trey Shaw, cornerback Dominique Bradshaw, defensive back C.J. Jones, linebacker Will Ignat, linebacker Derek Smith, defensive tackle Mike Allen, and defensive tackle Darius Shipp. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I am completely happy with him. And honestly, I will throw this out there. I think Juwan Jones should look at going into the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a good defensive end. Now he was not a I just went blank. Who's the kid we had a couple years back?
D'Angelo Malone.
There we go. Gosh, I just went blank. You ever do that?
Sometimes.
You just have a name in your head and then you just go boop and it's gone. But he's not a D'Angelo Malone, but I think he's maybe a step down. He's probably a step down from that, and I think he could play somewhere. If not NFL, CFL, XFL, whatever the other FLs are now.
The World Cup, I don't know.
Yeah, he could play in the World Cup. I'd like to. That would be really
Shout
funny.
out to Morocco for beating Spain. That was incredible. I don't know if you keep up with it at all, but it was basically like when VCU made the Final Four in college basketball in the NCAA tournament. It's the same kind of thing.
The only time I watch soccer is when I go to a Mexican restaurant, and that's on the TV.
Wow.
Hey, I watch American football. I do not watch soccer as much as our European listeners would not hate to hear me say that. I don't watch it. It's not that I don't watch it. I don't understand the rules. My wife played in high school. I don't ask. She was a defender. I don't know what her position was. We play with our little daughter. We'll play soccer with her. But when you're at a younger age, there's not positions. There's not strategy. There's a clump of kids that run around and kick a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably don't even keep score. But so, anyways, back on point. Congratulations to these seniors. Awesome job. The guys going to the draft. Good luck. I hope everything works out for you. Don't take it personal if I screwed your name up, because you will join a list of very many people that I screwed up your names. So,
You're from Alabama,
and as far as Western fans are concerned, just sit down. As Aaron Rodgers said a few years back, relax.
Give your money to WKU.
Yes. Give your money to the WKU. No, the Red Towel Trust. That's what it was. I'm sorry. No joke though. Like, if you're a big football fan and like say you don't like basketball, if there's not football going on, send them $10-$20 a month. If 100 people did that, that's a couple $1,000. That may not seem like a lot, but if you get
to persuade one player to stay at WKU,
that could be the straw that broke the camel's back. Seriously, that could be the amount that convinces somebody to stay, or to keep somebody from selling T-shirts. Which, by the way, is he still selling shirts? Because I might try and buy one.
I don't know. You should.
That'd be really cool. I would buy one and probably hang it up just because I think it'd be funny. But like we said before, take this with a grain of salt with these kids entering the transfer, because they're not all going to go. Some of these offensive linemen, they may go to bigger schools. They may not. They may go to bigger schools and they may sit on the bench. Most of them that I saw had 3 years of eligibility, which blows me away. Of course, we do have a couple walk-ons, which, how do you transfer as a walk-on? I thought you just leave and you just go somewhere else.
I don't know how that works.
I wasn't a walk-on. I never really.
It might just be like someone that's coming in for next season, like they're a walk-on and they've announced that they'll be at WKU or something.
Okay.
And that's another thing, too, is we're going to have to just wait and see how Hilton does this offseason. One, with recruiting high school players, which isn't as popular as the route to go now, but especially just attacking the portal again. Like, there's over 1,000 players in the transfer portal total. Like, and that number is probably going to continue to grow. So, I mean, he has plenty of options. He has plenty of people he can try to persuade to come to WKU. And, I mean, if we're able to rebuild and be good next season, then, I mean, it's just a lot of worrying about nothing. But, I mean, my biggest concern is how much longer can he keep it up without having a year that's like 2020 where we're under 500 or struggle really bad or end up getting the wrong quarterback that doesn't fit with the offense or something.
I think you deal with those years when you've got a coach that digs in the transfer portal like Hilton does. I think that's what you got to do. You're going to have those years.
But as bad as Conference USA will probably be next season with all these American athletics teams going. So, I mean, I really feel like we should be in a good position to win our conference next year.
I do too. I think we're in a good position to do it. Now, hypothetically, what percentage would you say Austin Reed coming back to Western is?
Maybe 20%.
You think 20? So I was thinking 15-10. I was thinking low.
Being optimistic.
I was thinking 15-10 because he's got some skill. Like he's not afraid to run at all. Which God, you just every time he'd run, I really want to be like, get down, no, stop. But I do think he has. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think. I think he's as good as Bailey Zappi? Not yet, but I think he could get there with the right, mentoring quarterback.
I just
coach.
think it's hilarious the fact that we can have a quarterback this season that throws for like 4,500 yards and like 36 touchdowns and be like, I mean, they were okay.
Well,
imagine those numbers at any other school. This like, oh, this dude is really good.
Oh my God, Middle would be like making a statue for him.
They'd be extending him like they have Rick Stockstill for God knows how long.
Austin Reed has been at MTSU for 15 years. He's getting his double doctorate. So, and another thing too, I just want to kind of bring up is Western. These people that are entering the portal can play in the bowl game, so there's no worries about that.
And I think that most of them will. At least a lot of the ones that I've heard, like Rusty Stats, like he's going to be playing. I think a few others are. I haven't heard if Reed will or not, but I mean, it's still going to be tough because I mean we're playing South Alabama. We haven't even talked about the bowl game yet. Yeah, I guess I can do that really quick.
But we're playing them. We're playing them in 2 weeks on the 21st at 9 p.m.
And we're playing South Alabama. So they were 10-2 in Sun Belt. They were pretty close to beating Troy. They were like one of the runner-up teams in Sun Belt this year. They were really good. So, I mean, this isn't the same Southern Alabama that we remember from years past. No. So that's the hard thing for me is because I just think South Alabama, like, God, I mean, they're no good. I mean, it's USA. They aren't that good. And they're just like, oh, things have changed so much. Oh, I forgot. They're like 10-2 this season with 7-1 in Sun Belt. But I mean, I'm glad that we finally got the New Orleans Bowl. I think that that's going to be really cool. I mean, it's only an 8-hour-ish drive from Bowling Green. Yeah. So I mean, that's like driving to Panama City Beach, which is what basically everyone in this entire region does every fall break. If you can drive to Panama City Beach, you can drive to New Orleans. It's a bigger town anyways, a lot more to do. So I mean,
Nolans,
yeah, Big Easy.
So talking about South Alabama, they are they're sitting at 10-2, and there's first in the Sun Belt West. Like Jared said, they came on runner up right behind Troy. They lost to UCLA by 1 point. That's wild.
Yeah.
They beat Central Michigan. They beat Nichols, which whatever. They beat Louisiana Tech, Louisiana. Which that would be the Raging Cajuns. They beat University of Louisiana Monroe, and they lost to Troy 10-6, which is a very weird score to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously 2 field goals for them, and Troy had a touchdown and a field goal.
It was either a defensive showdown or both offenses were just terrible.
Yes. They beat Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, Texas State, Southern Miss, and Old Dominion. So they've had a fairly good season.
I mean, 10 wins is hard to do in modern college football, regardless of what conference you're in.
Yes, and I mean that's the interns at ESPN are giving them 41% chance to win. And as we have seen all year, you can't go by that.
Yeah, and it depends on how many players we have that are transferring that decide to not play in the bowl game. That's another thing, too, because what if Austin Reed doesn't play?
Sits? What if Darius Ocean sits, too?
Yeah, then I guess it's Vilt Camp time.
Yeah, it's like,
But, I mean, but what if he has a really good performance? What if he throws for like 200, 300 yards and maybe 3 touchdowns? I mean, that could be an indicator of, hey, maybe Helton should invest in him and not have to go and look for some big transfer quarterback to come in and be the starting guy. Maybe this is your chance to develop somebody. So, I mean, I want us to win the bowl game, but at the same time, I mean, it's going to be hard if South Alabama keeps all of their players and we don't.
And another thing, too, kind of on the flip side, what if Austin Reed plays and gets hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
Then
there's
he's
so many
stuck with it.
risks. So many
They really
risks.
are. Looks like South Alabama's averaging about 31 points a game, allowing 19. We're scoring 36 and allowing 23. They're having about 420 yards a game, allowing 304, whereas we are getting about 480 and allowing 380. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're getting about 166 yards per game rushing and about 250 passing, which our passing is a lot higher. We're about 339 and they're about 144. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll have the graphic up on the screen. So you can check that out as I'm saying it. But it looks like Western is they're giving South Alabama they're giving South Alabama the minus 7.5. So Vegas is picking South Alabama to win this one, which is interesting. And maybe it's because we got so many kids transferring.
Maybe, and I mean, we still beat FAU by 1 point on a 2-point conversion in overtime. So, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we could be better.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt just texted me. Yeah, I forgot to tell him when we were doing the show.
Nice.
So he's gonna and maybe I did that subconsciously, so I don't have to listen to him give me a lecture about Josh Simon leaving. Yeah, in our group chat, Matt and I kind of got into it over the Simon. Yeah, over Josh Simon leaving, because I think what he thought was I was making it into like not a big deal. But I mean, and it is a big deal, but there are bigger names that are leaving that are bigger deals. Is what I was getting at.
I'm as worried about our defense as our offense. I feel like Pelton has the offense down pat, regardless of who is going to come in. But I mean, those defensive guys are so hard to replace sometimes.
I know we won't know till game time, and of course we'll have the podcast on. That night. We'll do the podcast that night to kind of get, and then probably take our Christmas break. But if once you find out who's playing, like I think that's going to affect a lot of it. But that'll be remain to be seen. I don't know. I think USA has their schedule is more padded than ours is.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the Troy game was still very close.
Yes.
And,
well, I mean, like we played Indiana, we played, Hawaii. We played Auburn, and that 75% of that game was close, and then they blew it in.
The first half was, yeah.
Indiana's was not a great team. We should have beaten them.
Yeah.
And like I said, we wish we'd had that game back. Troy was a lot closer. I thought we should have beat them, but like where Troy and USA, couldn't score, like it looks like that's all we did was score.
But
I can't remember the particulars. Of course, their quarterback got hurt. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Just texting Matt back.
Yeah, I don't know how this matchup with South Alabama will go.
And like you said, who knows if the player, who sits in, who's going to sit it out, who's going to play. I think, honestly, I think in coaches and players, I think you should play the game. Mm-hmm. If a coach goes to a different school, I think they still have to coach the game. That's in my opinion. Like I've never subscribed to the
Satterfield going to Cincinnati before Louisville plays Cincinnati. That's oh my god.
Well, no. Well, I think okay. For instance,
that's hilarious.
For instance, like when Taggart left in 12, when Petrino left, Braum left, whoever, like they always leave before the bowl game, and I'm like, why? You coached this team the entire year. Why don't you finish it out? And then the bowl game's over, you get on a plane, you go to the new school. I have never, and it's always like, well, it's recruiting. Okay, you can still recruit right after. I don't understand. I never understood that. You're going to a new team, like finish out what you did with that team. And this is one reason I'm not a college football coach, I guess, because I'd be like, I'd want to be there and I'd want to be coaching them, or I'd be watching the game.
Because you have morals, Devin.
Evidently,
you don't have
money
morals
doesn't
as a
rule me.
college football coach. You just ditch your team at the first opportunity for a big paycheck. That's how it works.
And that's what always killed me with like former UK coach Tubby Smith was essentially complaining that players shouldn't be allowed to transfer and do this and do that. And it's like, you do it all the time. Coach, that's such a hypocritical thing to say, that coaches can do it, but players can't.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Like-
Stalls, Patrick Sparks.
God.
There he is. Yeah, sorry, bud. I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, so y'all started at 4, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, your time. Sorry. I meant to tell you.
Well,
I
what is
seriously
it,
forgot to tell you,
if
and then
Devin
you said
says
you were
it's at
going
Was
5,
it Christmas
it
light
doesn't-
draft time, and then we get off here, or what?
Maybe.
So how upset are you about the transfers? Because that's basically all we've talked about for 50 minutes.
I mean, it's been good
It must have been riveting. I mean, obviously, it's a lot. Like I was looking at Ross's list or whatever that we've got on the towel rack. And
31.
Like every other comparable school is like, 7 or 8 transfers maybe or less, and we have like 18. So like, what's going on? We haven't lost our coach yet. So
I was gonna say,
what
we
do they
don't know.
that we don't. Yeah, I mean, there's rumors that he could go to Purdue or wherever. I don't know, but I mean, what do they know that we don't? I know Reed left, so I think that was kind of a domino effect. That they're like, well,
Maybe.
okay, the quarterback left, and then Ocean left too. So you got your top 2 quarterbacks gone. So maybe people are like, well, we're gonna suck. We got to get out of here.
I don't know.
But I mean, that's a huge amount of people just take off right after, and oddly, most of them may play the bowl game. I don't know what's going on.
I hope so. I hope we play in the bowl game because we're not gonna do anything otherwise. But a lot of these players,
even the players that are trained.
too.
Yeah.
A lot of these are
But I was
defensive
gonna
guys too. So Jesus, your delay is killing me.
Sorry, buddy.
You're good. I just go to say something.
Our Wi-Fi has been awful. Our Wi-Fi has been awful like the last couple weeks. So I'm sorry.
We'll forgive you.
We got what? So we got
I
about
love you.
5. We've got about 5 defensive players leaving. I'm counting them out. Luke Slusher, O-line, Dakota Thomas, Simon. So probably a few more offensive players than defensive, and then we have 2 walk-ons transferring. I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you, Matt?
What,
Like, I thought if you
walk-ons
were-
transfer?
Yeah, I thought like if you're a walk-on, you just kind of quit and then you you went to another school because you're not on scholarship. So
Well, they have like preferred walk-ons and stuff, so they get like extra I
Stuff?
don't know what they get. Yeah, an extra backpack or something. I don't know. Yeah, like
Okay.
Neil Wilson, if you remember him, he was a preferred walk-on, and I don't know some of the other
Yeah, I do
like
remember
some of the
Neil. He
players that have
played.
played like special teams or something.
If I'm not
like
wrong,
maybe,
didn't Neil play for Monroe County?
Yeah, he was somewhere. He was a local Kentucky boy. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly
yeah, and
where
that's
he was
who I
from.
was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, basketball. So, hold on. Volleyball lost to UK last week, so we're out. But congratulations, ladies! Awesome job in the tournament. Awesome job in the season. I mean, like we're volleyball U. I mean, we're going to be
Yeah.
the volleyball Red Out podcast. I mean,
I
they're
do-
doing awesome.
I do want to say this. The
Okay,
fact
say
that
this.
they pulled it together and made it to the round of 32 this year was incredible. Like
Yeah.
they had a few obviously really good all-time greats and stuff like Lauren Matthews and Paige Briggs and the really good players, but they had no business being as good as they were, pulling off the record they did and winning a game in the tournament. Like it was really amazing that they pulled all that together and did what they did. So Hudson pulls off maybe his best ever coaching job and does what he does every year, wins a game in the tournament and dominates Conference USA for the most part.
Yeah. Well, completely dominates Conference USA because they were 28 or 14-3 or no, 14-0 and 28-3 in overall.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we lost the conference championship game to Rice,
yeah,
but Rice is a top 20-ish team in the country, so there was no shame in it, and it was a 5-set in both matches. So I mean, other than Rice, we completely dominated everybody.
looks like Lady Tops lost to Ball State, 82-66. I'm trying to check and see when this game was. Okay,
Yeah, there was a
we already
little
talked about
promise there.
Lipscomb.
There was a little promise there in the Lady Tops. They were down 12 at halftime, and then they actually almost came back and won. So
That's good.
showed
That's
a
good.
little
That's
bit of
good.
life there. But they're
Yeah.
still also 1-5. So I don't know, but at least they showed some fight, and that was very positive.
Well, they did have a really good fourth quarter push there. Starting out the fourth quarter being down 12 and pushing it within a few points. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, they had it within
Ball
4
State's
there.
Ball State's a solid women's basketball program. So to go on the road and almost beat them, that's a sign of they were engaged and they weren't just playing like utter crap.
Yeah.
They still have got to figure out how to minimize the turnovers. I think they had 20-something turnovers in this one too. So
Yeah.
it's a real bad issue for them with the
Yeah.
turnovers.
Yeah. 27 turnovers. We did get 44 rebounds, but like you said, you got to fix those turnovers. Now, men's basketball. We beat Austin P by 1 freaking point. That is wild.
Did y'all talk about this some already? Or
No.
No.
Oh, really? Y'all haven't touched it at all? Okay.
All right, you want to touch it? Go ahead, touch it.
Me or?
Yeah, you can touch the P. You can touch the P, Matt.
God.
First.
Oh man, let me get my trench coat out.
I watched part of this game because I was working on post production for the podcast. And honestly, it was one of those I'd type up a few things and then I'd look back and I'm like, what the hell does that say? And then you go back and I'm like, wait, and I catch myself watching the game and I'm like, what in the But okay, Matt, you talk about it because I'm sure you were more attentive than I was.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. We were playing well and everything, and then I mean,
Just
it
kind of
just kind of. I think Stansbury. One thing that I was concerned about, he burned a timeout. We were up 5 with a minute left after making a basket, and that was the last timeout that we had. So I just kind of wonder if we hadn't burned some timeouts or we didn't use that one after a made basket, up 2 scores. Maybe it could have been a little different at the end, but it was just I don't know. It just kind of melted. A little bit of it was just kind of bad luck. I mean, Austin P was shooting out of their minds. They shot 50% from 3, and they shoot 30% on the year. So they were out of their minds.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, okay, great teams are going to take this 14-point lead and going to expand it out to 20, and we're going to play the bench. And what do? We almost lost. Not only did you not extend it, you almost lost, and you got lucky that you didn't lose. How do you
honestly
do that?
If that game was about 30 more seconds game time, we probably would have lost it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, the first half, it looks like everything was just trade back and forth. And then Western kind of pulled away, and then they tried to pull it back in. That's just something they've got to work on. And I mean, it's kind of good that we're having these games now rather than during conference play. So
I mean, ultimately, it's a testament to how talented they are that they can do that and still find a way to win and have the team shoot 50% and whatever. But then again, I mean, you're going to face better teams than Austin P in Conference USA. So we can't piss away 14-point leads like that. You can't do it.
You're right. So just to touch real quick on this, the girls are going to play on Sunday at 3 p.m., and that looks like it's at Diddle. So check that game out. They're playing Little Rock. Hopefully they'll do a lot better. bring your daughters and your perverted sons to watch the game so they can help out. Now, of course, guys are playing Saturday night. They're going to be playing Wright State, 7 p.m. tip off there. And then, of course, on the 14th, we're going to be playing Louisville, which is next Wednesday, 9 p.m. ESPN2. So definitely check those two out. We'll talk more Louisville next week. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, we'll figure out, hopefully, who's going to actually be playing in the bowl game to let you know that. Real quickly, conspiracy theories that you believe in, Matt.
Gosh. Well, I had no time to prepare. So,
No, yeah. I mean, why would I give you any time to prepare?
Jared, I had negative 46 minutes.
See, Devin, this one was tough. Like, this one was, I'm not that much of a conspiracy theory person. And, like, most of them that I do believe in are just, like, ironic and not, like, actually believing them. One that I ironically believe in, just the fact that I've seen it happen, is the fact that we all live in a simulation. And the reason I say that is because I can't tell you how many times at work there would be no one. There is not a single soul in our cafe. Nobody's there. And the door and the register are very far away. So it takes a minute to get there. Like, I can't tell you how many times there's been no one in the cafe. I will turn around for maybe 2 seconds and then turn back, and there's 4 people waiting to have their order taken. Where do they come from? They did not walk through that door. They just appear. No one can tell me otherwise. They just spawn out of nowhere like a computer simulation. I've seen it happen too many times.
Now, I will say, I do know Neil deGrasse Tyson says he believed for a long time that we'd lived in a simulation, which for a Christian, you're like, that's ridiculous. But
yeah, which is where I'm at. I believe it, like, ironically, but not, like, seriously. But I mean, I have instances like that where I'm like, well, what if it's true?
Now, okay, here's one I believe in.
Jared,
I don't think
your salvation.
God. No.
I don't think JFK was shot alone. I think there was a couple shooters. Just saying. That's just one of my.
I was going to bring up JFK, but that's all that came to my mind about conspiracy theories. Like, I don't know. I believe in aliens. Like, what do you want me to say?
Well,
JFK
I think
is still alive.
I think that
That
I figured Matt was a flat earther. Honestly, that's what I was thinking.
Do you want to hear the most ridiculous conspiracy theory anyone can believe?
What's that?
WKU going to the NCAA tournament under Rick Stansbury.
No, I think the most ridiculous one is that Rick Stansbury knows there's a bench.
Oh my God.
That's just my thoughts. But anyway, so like I said before,
can shoot that ball, so I just kept him in.
I didn't have anybody to go with after them. Coach, there's a bench. What? There's a bench?
You got to build trust.
God.
But anyway, like I said before, if you want to support us, like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. It helps the algorithm and kind of pushes our show out there for more people, Western fans and sports fans, and people who think we're funny and conspiracy nuts, apparently. If you want to support us directly, you can do Patreon. If you would like to talk to somebody about your kooky conspiracy theory that seems very out there, you can go to betterhelp.com/out.
What an incredible segue.
And then,
Dude,
if you use our affiliate link, it also helps us. So we appreciate that. And it also gives you 10% off your first month, I think. So definitely, if you need help, seriously, if you need help, go on there and they can pair you with somebody, just like the ad read says. Western is got a basketball game on Saturday, 7 p.m. Then next week we're playing Louisville at 9 p.m. at Louisville. Wright State is this Saturday, 7 p.m. Lady Tops are playing Little Rock on Sunday, and then next Thursday they're going to be playing Indiana State. We'll talk more about that next week. I will make sure to tell Matt the right time. And then football will be playing in 2 weeks. They're playing South Alabama in New Orleans, so definitely check back there. We will be updating the tracker on the portal transfers as time goes by, so definitely check out the Towrax update portal there. But appreciate you all coming on. Thanks, Matt, for coming on for the past 15 minutes. And
You're welcome.
as always, guys, go Tops.
Good talks.
Yeah, go Tops. Thanks, Devin.
Oh my God.
When he says 5 p.m., is it Central? Is it Eastern? Nobody knows.
Try to put Central. Matt said he wasn't coming, so I forgot.
Conspiracy theory, there is no time zones.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out.